get the bid from local distributors to see where we can get it the cheapest. So, I mean, we are having informal bids.
I think we understand that, and that, what we're just trying to do, so that we're not in
Correct.
violation, openly in violation of the.
Okay, we want, willing to make some,
I move that we, follow some sort of wordsmith, thing that we're aware of.
Move that you're acknowledging it, that you're instructing your management to continue to rebid the individual purchases, and that you move on, basically. And try to coordinate between the departments.
The
That would be the other thing to
the
do.
auditors make the commission aware.
Yeah.
and I did tell Buck this morning that he needs to make a note of every call he makes on that, and, you know.
Well, that's different,
I know, but it wouldn't hurt on this one either.
Right.
Well, and if the purchase is over $500, we do require quotes. But with these, not a single
Interesting.
purchase in the 90-day period was over that $500 threshold.
Yeah.
So that was another part of the problem, is also why we didn't catch it
So
sooner.
my motion will be reflected what Kevin said, so we're not, I can't remember what he said, well, the other thing.
Okay, do I have a second reflected on what?
Request on what he said?
And
What
you'll
he
have,
said.
you'll have to sign off on it, but I'll draw it.
I have a motion and a second on what he said.
What he said.
Okay, any questions on what he said? Buck, do you have something?
No, I don't know if I need to, put this on a different agenda.
Well, we don't have it on the agenda today, so we don't have it.
Well, it's to do with public service upfitters, the bill for public service upfitters.
Yes, we haven't been able to locate that on the Missouri State contract list. Like I had sent you, it wasn't, there was other
That's what I was
bidders.
gonna say, the numbers that they give me,
Were for Arizona
they're
State,
different,
not for Missouri.
but, yeah, exactly. But the ones that they give me was for a different area of the United States. But anyway, I did, bid, or necessarily bid, but I couldn't get no other vendors to get back with me to bid that, them.
This is where I told him to keep notes.
Yeah.
He called
For
3 or
the,
4 suppliers and none of them called him back.
What it is, it's equipment for the new police cars we just got.
Yeah.
And it's $12,800.
Which is over that 6,000.
It's over the 6,000. But.
And there are like 3 or 4 vendors on the Missouri State contracts list, it's just not.
None of them
public
would get back to me. None of them would, respond to my request to,
So you can
Give
put
me
this
a
on the
quote.
agenda next meeting to go ahead.
but this
Maybe
bid, this
same.
bill's been on the book since April, and they keep calling me wanting to pay.
Okay, but, yeah, that bill is already past due.
And they
The
have not
requisition
given us a
was just-
penalty on it yet.
The requisition was just input last week.
Just came in last
So
week.
that's the first we've
Well,
heard of it.
It's dated past, for some
Right.
reason we didn't get that in, but, okay,
Well,
let's
I
table
tell you
this
why.
item, but we can't act on this today, because it's not on the agenda.
Can we reach out to them and talk to the vendor and say, we've just got your bill, we have to wait till
They
the
know
next
that,
commission's.
they didn't send it out because of the COVID.
Oh, okay.
They did.
Well, let's blame it on the COVA.
That's why they haven't given us a penalty yet. But they won't pay.
COVA.
Okay,
Put that on the next agenda.
that'll be on the next agenda, we'll take care of that then. Now, back to this topic, if you have a motion second, are there any comments?
The reason that we've had an extraordinary amount of billing coming out of the sheriff's department is the extraordinary expenses that the sheriff's department is bringing in through, you know, the vehicle use, or vehicles use.
You mean these $300,000 cars? Is that what you're talking about? or-
We got no free.
No.
Okay, what are you talking about?
Well, I mean, there's been some extenuating circumstances where
Rex.
it's, you know, and, he's trying to stay within budget and everything. It's pretty difficult when, you know, they're bringing in vehicles that, you know, need some serious work. And it's just not Buck's side of it. I mean, you've got auto repair and body damage, et cetera, so.
Okay, yeah, there have been 4 wrecks.
Well, there's about 75 vehicles too. You gotta take into consideration that we're maintaining. It ain't like there's 10, you know, or,
Well, then now we're
They
getting
keep you
into a
humming.
budget situation.
right.
Okay, back to this topic of this item here. I have motion second. Any other questions? All in favor of what he said, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, got it? All right. Key watch system in jail. Jamie?
I forgot these at the office, it was because of COVID.
I don't know if I can touch you.
Well, that's the best I could come up with. These are 3 different beds on a key watch system. I just want to take a minute and tell you what's going on at the jail. Currently, we have about 100 inmates at the jail. The new laws in regard to bonding and keeping inmates has most of them coming in, being booked and being released. Good, bad, or otherwise. The thing about it is we have a low count at the jail, so in the meantime, we've been doing a lot of cleaning, painting, getting cells cleaned up. We're getting ready to replace glass in a lot of the cells where inmates have broken the glass. Also sealing tiles from where the roof leak. So we're doing quite a bit of stuff. With that, the satellite system, excuse me, the company's gonna come in, get it up and going probably in about 2 or 3 months. The fire alarm system, getting it up and going. And what we're wanting to do is get this ready and bring in federal agency. I've been on the phone with U.S. Marshal Service with Ned Boyd, who's in charge of bringing or having inmates come into the county jails to be held. I asked him about the amount of inmates that they have and so many other issues that would come up that would keep us from getting the federal inmates. He reassured me they have plenty of inmates and also that it will probably stay that way for about 5 years or better because of, I think he said offenders getting their probation and parole revoked and then being held in our facilities to go in front of the courts.
Say that one more time, Jamie.
Well, he says the amount of federal inmates that they will have to house in county jails, detention centers, will remain steady. In other words, a fairly high amount of inmates due to inmates getting their parole revoked, probation revoked, or whatever it may be. So, matter of fact, he's coming up either later this week or the first of next week to go around and look at the jail to see what we need to do. Also, he sent me a list of inspection items that I'm reviewing at this time. And from what I see, it's no different than what we did at the prison to get these inspections. He wants to come in and look around. He said he looked forward to having inmates up here. So that's what we're doing at this time. The Key Watch system is part of that I spoke of earlier, where it's key control. That's a very important part of security of a detention center.
Okay, Jamie, you handed me these 3 and I wasn't sure, I didn't open them because I didn't know if these were sealed bids or what these are.
Well, I didn't know how as they come in off my computer. I just took them, sealed them up, threw them in an envelope.
Okay,
Because
these
it's
are from
listed.
different suppliers?
Yes,
Okay,
3 different ones. So I didn't know, I had no clue.
okay.
What he said.
I can tell you this is the way you gotta do it legally, so,
It is or isn't?
Is it
Okay, so I can request again and get them put in. I had
yeah, we
no
can put
idea.
out a request for bid. That's
Uh-huh.
what you guys approve, and then it sends it out, and then we have the date that is done, and then they come in sealed, just like you do on your.
And we're not supposed to even know what the dollar amount is. on
Right,
this during
okay.
that time.
And again, I'm not clear with that. We always have the
Yeah.
state worked off state
So
contracts.
your request may be to have them authorize you bidding out this service?
Sure.
Is that what your request would be?
Sure.
Okay.
And then we would give a date here in the future, they could use the same bids since they've not been published, but they're gonna have to send us, to us to have them opened properly.
But we can use this agenda item
You
to
sure can.
authorize that bid.
You sure can.
I would move that we allow the jail administrator to bid out a key watch system for the jail.
Sealed bid.
Seal bid, sorry.
Second.
Any questions?
Do you want the date?
Yes.
Do you want the date that Go ahead.
Is it over $6,000, do you know?
It would be, yes.
And did you say that there is a state contract available for that?
No, he did not.
No, it did not get renewed,
Okay.
is what happened. They did have, one of the companies, a state contract, and they didn't renew it.
How about the 6th?
Well, it takes at least 3 weeks to do a seal bid. We will have a meeting on, July 6th, it's about 3 weeks.
That would be about the time I said.
About the time
It's
it's-
July. Is your amendment say that those bids are to be due on, July 6th, Commissioner Mullins? Is that what your motion said?
Absolutely.
That's what I thought.
Okay,
July seventh,
Instead.
seventh.
no, 6th, Monday.
All right.
First Monday.
So
of
you need
the
the specs so she can get it out by the.
Okay.
There's not a meeting 2 weeks from today?
There
Yes,
is, but he
that's the
says that
third, but
there.
it takes 3 weeks to do
I
that.
see what you're saying, okay.
Okay, motion second, any questions? And I said the 6th because that's the first Monday of a term when we are required to have a meeting.
That's correct.
Okay,
There,
yes,
so this is just one more step that we need to be doing that will bring in federal prisoners, correct?
Yes. And then the rest of it, I went through several things. I think these would be the major purchases to bring the jail into line with what they're gonna expect. The other stuff we did needed to be done anyway, whether we had federal inmates or not.
okay, one quick question. I called to Gary Stolzer yesterday, said he's 50 prisoners down. He'd like to have another 50. Why would there be a need for more housing when Gary's got empty slots?
The way the U.S. Marshal, again, he's the guy that does the jails, when I called him, he said due to probation, parole revocation, I think that was what he said. We had a lengthy conversation.
Location.
But he said, yeah, it's location, one thing, where it's located. And I know Jeff County's trying to get federal inmates, and I'm sure, you know, St. John, a large part of their budget comes from federal inmates, so nobody wants to be down.
think
I mean, I can speak to that as far as like, so a
I'm
lot of
sorry,
times,
Melissa, I can't-
well, a lot of times we will have concurrent jurisdictions. Possession of child pornography is one of them. So for instance, we have maybe 4 defendants that are also having federal charges and they're being housed in St. John because we don't have the housing here. So if they were housed here, suppose we could have they would pay for it instead of the county pay for it.
Transportation.
So that would be one of the examples where
Thank
we
you.
would have that.
Thank you. Okay, now, do I have are we ready for a vote? Any other questions? Yeah, Louis?
So what is the proposed number of federal inmates are you anticipating?
I'll talk about available bed space in a little bit, but, go ahead.
Just, if arrests go back up, I think traditionally there was 25 to 30 offenders held, federal inmates. So we would, stick with that number.
And that would leave, with your current population, that would leave you how many vacant beds then?
Well, let's see, maybe we
Well, I
have
can
to
tell
look
you
at
that, right, the last Monday and this Monday each, you had 110.
Right. It would probably leave us
occupants, and-
about 60 beds.
Yeah, you have 180 beds, and I'm gonna be talking about this in a little bit, but, right now we have 70 beds available.
Since you're in comments, I'm gonna say one other thing that you need to look at. One of the planks of one of the parties' platforms, if they win in November, is to do federal prison reform, releasing more prisoners. There was 300 between Cape and St. Louis 4 years ago. There's 1,200 now, and one of the parties says that they're gonna get that number down greatly. So, I mean, that's a consideration, that if they are saying, we win, we are going to let these people out earlier, there may be a lot more beds available.
I think he's saying, who's our next president?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if they're, when they started their probation or, wouldn't be parole, it'd be probation, and violations of that would put them right back in, would it not?
It would.
Well,
You can say, and the thing about it is, it's what you do with the money when it's coming in. If it's coming in and you're buying vehicles or whatever with it, if that money goes down and you're not, you know, using it for reoccurring expenses, then I think kind of it's win-win.
All right, well, let's stick with this for now. We have a motion and a second to, submit for seal bid for this key watch system. Any other questions? All
Here it says awarded bid, but we're gonna.
This is solicited.
Okay.
Okay.
and we will award the bid on the 6th. If there are more awarded, we will open it and then go to the auditor.
Right, okay. Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Hiring of additional detention officers at jail. Jamie, you're up.
Oh, if that would go through, there would have to be a few additional staff to cover the transportation of the inmates. I think Jeff County had to purchase vans. Our vans are in good enough shape. There would have to be a purchase of them, but we'll need people to drive the vans. And this would
Are
just
you
be
talking about to the courthouse?
back and forth, the transportation.
Are you saying if it goes through meaning the key watch system or receiving federal prisoners?
Federal prisoners.
Okay, on that topic of transportation, why don't we have a nice room over there that, with cameras back and forth between the courthouse and the jail, so you don't have to transport, your eyebrows went up.
Not sure, you mean like the Polycom system where they go to court? They're in the,
Yes, that's.
We do have that.
yeah, we do have it, it's called the Polycom
Do
system.
we use it? I still see orange suits coming out of the bus over here on a regular basis.
I can actually add to that as well. Last week, the circuit clerk actually added a new Polycom system in Mr. King, Judge King's court as well. So there are 3 to 4 different courts that have that system. There's just more prisoners than there are actual cameras. So basically, it's one, and you don't rotate them out. There's still a lot of, like Melissa said, there's a lot of trials still going on. There's still a lot of traffic going through. It takes longer to do a Polycom system than it does to bring them in and have everybody set up.
Okay, so it's quicker to do it, to bring them in and do it over here.
Correct. They still have it, and like I said last week, Oscar actually came in to install a Polycom system for his court. I believe that's getting all set up within the next couple of weeks, up and running. But they do definitely have them, and they are up and running, and they are being utilized.
Okay, Dan?
I'm just letting you know, it's actually, whether we use the Polycom or not, it's up to the judges. And some judges say, hey, I want them in front of me, I don't want to do it over the system. City of Deloge, City of Farmington uses Polycom for their court, and some of our courts here, some of them do, some don't. That's why you see them still coming back and forth.
And you just touched on cities. The municipalities can go to our building now at their discretion. And has Leadington the only ones decided to do that so far? On municipal courts?
Using the Polycom?
No, I'm talking about municipal courts now.
Oh, coming to our.
Yeah, using our,
Yes,
system,
yes.
our facilities for that.
Leadington's the only one I'm aware of.
It's the only one I'm aware of too.
I suspect more will be. Okay.
I assume it's a lot cheaper to do it that way than transport them and things?
You mean using the Polycom? Yes, and also much safer. And
So I know you wouldn't say this, but you'd say that in 2 years, when 2 judges are up for re-elect, they would probably be inquired of why they wouldn't want to do the thing that would save the taxpayers most.
Well, it saves
I'm
us,
just guessing that that's.
saves us
Well,
manpower.
I could speak to that. I mean, I know with COVID-19, they've definitely utilized it as much as they could because, you know, if there happened to be an outbreak in the jail, you know, bringing them in. But essentially, if they have a right to be present at the hearing, like preliminary hearings, guilty pleas, or trials, then they'll bring them in. But now I think the judges have really expanded other ones to say, well, we'll just have them appear by Polycom. So that's pretty new, but it is happening.
But I've heard that it's faster to go bring them over here, the hearings themselves are faster over here than over the camera.
I can't speak to that as far as what the resources are. I know with Judge Goff, he basically does the bond appearances and the reviews via Polycom twice a week, at least twice a week because of the new bond
Good.
Missouri Supreme Court rules.
Well, that's all in Judge Warren's hands anyway, probably. Okay. All right, motion, see, we're, okay. Well, we don't, there's nothing to act on this now. then.
Right, I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update, what's going on with that.
Well, thank you.
And I'll come back, next time we speak of, we're looking at a key watch system, through a company to come in and do visiting through the key watch. It's like screens are in there, they can talk to family.
Okay.
Everything,
Not key watch.
not key watch, I'm sorry, the.
Kiosk.
Kiosk, I knew it was a key. Yeah, the kiosk system, it's, had the law library on it and stuff, so we're looking at that. That'll also save staff time escorting inmates back and forth to, to the visiting area. They'll just be able to pick up the phone and visit. Stuff like that is absolutely no cost to us and actually generates funds.
Generates a little bit of funds, okay?
Mhm.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you.
Sam.
We appreciate it.
All right.
Request to approve camera system, Dwayne.
Hello, my name's Dwayne Linden, I'm the acting IT director. I was gonna wait to do the update to the camera system until we knew more about the tax situation on there. Unfortunately, with other political meetings coming up, our camera system's actually failing. Over the last couple of weeks, the 2 cameras that are facing the courthouse have actually died multiple times. I've had to come on the roof and actually rewire them. So I went to our state contracted to SHI and had a quote done for $18,708.29. This would include upgrading our server, which is an old server, upgrading our 3 cameras that are facing the courthouse, and accessing our current badge system at the 2 front doors that we utilize right now. So when somebody scans their badge, the camera will actually turn on and record to make sure that that is the actual person entering the building. This also includes adding 2 cameras, 1 in each elevator, and then also adding cameras in the stairwells for both buildings. So I would ask permission from the commissioners to approve this state bid.
Do we have a total?
Yes, total is $18,708.29.
Is that on the budget?
That is in the budget. Our budget was $20,000, and I got down a little bit to $18,000. And then later on, we can always expand upon the system if needed.
Well, I move about the request of the IT department to approve the state bid for camera system for the courthouse and annex.
Second? Questions?
Is this something that could be expanded to other departments in the future?
We can definitely take a look at it. I know our current provider, it's been kind of hard to get a hold of them lately. This is just the first step. This is not upgrading all our current cameras. The system actually includes incorporates the cameras we currently have. So we're actually getting more covered with the system and a newer server. But I know the company that is doing this has put in the badge system here. They are a very good company, working from the past. So hopefully in the future, next year, we can reevaluate this for the rest of the county. Okay.
Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you so much. Appreciate you going, Carol. Yes.
I'm looking back up to number 1. The prosecutor had a request that if somebody that she's hiring right now with experience to have their pay at $50,000 rather than $46,000 that she started the people out of.
Okay.
And she had asked that, so I'm wondering if, I don't care, but if she's hiring her now, you probably either ought to act
Yeah, I missed that.
or not.
Okay, and that, again, the budget, it's in the budget?
Yes.
So, well, I think I have the money left. It's slated at 46,000 starting, but due to the salary savings that we spoke about earlier. And that's my fault. I asked for 2 things at once, so it wasn't very clear.
Okay, I was still thinking about backlog.
I understand.
Okay. Okay, motion to extend this one person's pay by $4,000. Is that even money?
Yes.
That's a new hire.
And that's the experience.
That's the one she was working at the AG's office and then Gascade County prosecutor.
And you do have the funds in your budget?
Yes.
Okay, motion?
On the recommendation of the prosecuting attorney, I move that we approve her request to add $4,000 to the starting salary of this particular employee.
Thank you.
Second?
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, other business correspondence, I think you had something.
Commissioners, I do have something. Dear Commissioners, I want to thank you so much for all what you three have done in helping me with the road. You've helped me more than I can say. I really appreciated all your help. Thank you so much. God will bless you for all you've done. You're a good and honest crew in the eyes of our Lord. I'll be praying for you three's good health and safety. Thank you so much for your help. Dorothy Donzie, she lives off of Mitchell Pass.
Yeah, we've met her before. Okay, appreciate that. Any other correspondence? Public comments? Departmental reports?
Yeah, from Road Bridge, just so you know, Buck Mountain Road is closed today at the bridge, today and tomorrow. They're going to be, we sprayed oil this morning, and they're going to be doing an overlay on the bridge tomorrow. The bridge approaches, and that project will be finished tomorrow evening.
So now everybody's going around.
They are today and
Got
tomorrow.
signs up at each end?
Oh,
of it?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But that project will be totally finished, and then we'll send all our facts and figures into the Bridge Road project and probably get some credit for that. And then we will begin Conley Church Bridge project Monday morning.
Okay. And those people will appreciate that bridge even more when you open the road back up. Okay. Any other departmental reports, sir?
Couple of things here. The Board of Equalization is scheduled to begin July 6th. We're 1,000 notices were sent out, so we expect to get some. A lot of that was new construction though, and so we'll see how many hearings we have. We haven't had a scheduled meeting since the election. I want to thank all of our people to get it done. We had good turnout, all of our workers, to recruit 120 workers, and Linda worked with them, getting them filled. We appreciate them. Long days, start at 5 o'clock in the morning, ends after 7. They do a good job. We got it done. We had 800 and some odd vote in the office, because I had that question a lot, at my office or absentee, which was a huge amount for an April election. We had over 12% turnout. Bismarck had a tie, so July 14th, there will be a runoff for that aldermanic position on July 14th. It would be the same thing. The polls open at 6 in the morning, they close at 7 at night. There's one polling place, and that's Bismarck at the VFW. So we do appreciate that. We've got a meeting, we've got 2 meetings scheduled real close, so I just wanted to remind you, after the next meeting on that Tuesday, you will have Wednesday and Thursday morning till 10 to put anything on the automatic that we have July. So you've got to get it on the agenda by Thursday morning at 10 to give the proper notice to have our meeting on that Monday. So we've got just a day and a half.
And why Thursday instead of Friday?
Because Friday's the 4th of July holiday, and we're off on that.
All right, thank you, I missed that. Okay. Okay, we have treasurer's report. This is 41.6% end of the year. The red boxes are items that are above the 41.6%. I would point out that
That actually is the auditor's report.
Thank you. You're right, but I've worked with treasurer's reports a few times. Okay.
She took over yours.
Anyway, well, you can talk about it if you want to.
Now, ask the treasurer.
As a treasurer, yeah. I've been talking to her all morning on the phone. But the total expenditures are 37 and 33%, well below the percentage of the year we are into that. Thank you, Louis, for the typo correction. And sales tax report. This, I guess, we call this the auditor's report.
Yeah, I'll just point out that we're a little over 3% increase, which is actually.
Which somebody has been telling, I know what you're gonna say, right, yeah. I've been saying all along, this is the last positive report you're gonna get for the year. And anyway, we're happy to see that.
I think those are, to be honest with you, according to the Office of Administration, though it says May, the bulk of that is coming out of April.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the May report on April.
Right.
Income, yes.
Still, that's fine.
Okay.
It's surprising.
Now, we've heard overcrowding at the jail. We heard one of the debates, both candidates were saying that they've heard rumors the jail's overcrowded, and that's wrong. The actual population count is, as I said earlier, we've had 110 detainees each Monday morning of the last 2 weeks, 61% capacity. 61% capacity, that leaves us nearly 40% when the bed's empty. And there was a time we had too many detainees, but that's not common. And anyway, it's just one of those rumors that keeps persisting. Board of Equalization, you've already talked about this meeting on July 6th, so that's been done. County Aid Road Trust, CART funds. Basically, it's about the same. It varies from by the year to date. 353,000, 346,000, 347,000. This is a per gallon gas tax, so it means that the consumption of gasoline for the first few months of the year has been pretty consistent. So, anyway,
That's one of the areas that the state projected that it will go down for the year, because like in our area, so many people driving to St. Louis, and if they were not working during that period of time, they were not buying gas. So eventually that will get through the line.
we know that our gasoline consumption has gone down, and I've talked to other people that, and we don't commute to St. Louis every day or anything like that. But just,
Right, they think that all consumption will be down on that, but that's why the auto insurance companies have given you rebate back because you haven't been driving as much.
but it's hard to see, but we're talking roughly $350,000 first year through now. So that's roughly $700,000 a year if the pool's ready for the year. Okay, next regular meeting, 2 weeks from today, June 30. And same place, same time. And then future meeting schedule discussion. Do we want to, now we must have a meeting the next Monday because of state law. First Monday of the quarter. So July 6th is, we've got June 30 and then July 6th, which is roughly a week apart. Now after that, what do we want to do? Do we need to go back to regular meetings? Do we want to hold it 2 weeks or what? What's your thoughts?
My thought is we need to return to a weekly meeting.
Okay?
I agree. Return to normal.
Okay, any questions? Well, motion, or no, we don't need to act on it, it's not an agenda item.
Keep talking about it, it'd be a return to normalcy like Commissioner Wilkins stated, so we can just keep it open.
Okay, yeah, we can't act on it anyway today. Any comments from the crowd? Anybody got any thoughts on it? This has been a longer than normal meeting, hour and a half, we've seen 15-minute meetings. Anyway, okay, well, we'll take that into discussion, and
Move to adjourn.
all in favor, aye. Thank you all for coming.